Alright, so what if Gojo was born as a cursed spirit? Would Jujutsu Society crumble apart on day one? How would Kenjaku react to this? And maybe the biggest question, what happens to Geto? Well, let's break it all down and get right into the story. So the first thing that we're going to have to establish is the world without Gojo. When he's born, he shifts things completely. It's stated multiple times that him just existing is a huge deal for cursed spirits and sorcerers alike. But in this timeline, he's never born. But that doesn't mean there isn't a Gojo family heir. Instead, someone else is born in place of Gojo, and that is my boy, Ranta Zenin. Now, I know he's manga only right now, but still, he's pretty cool. He only shows up for like one chapter. I like his power though. Enough said. He has black hair, strange eyes of his own, and a technique that lets him freeze whoever he's looking at. Ranta ends up joining Jujutsu High, and he actually clicks with Geto a bit more than Gojo did. The two become a solid duo, though Ranta is nowhere near as strong as Geto. Still though, they do trust each other and they work together fairly well. However, in the background, something much darker is brewing. A cursed womb, massive, with 6 eyes glowing blue adorning its body. Nobody notices at first because without Gojo, cursed spirits are running rampant in this world. But that doesn't last for long. Because of the influx of cursed spirits and the low manpower of sorcerers, we start getting freelance sorcerers, right? Basically cursed users that are hired to take on the responsibility of sorcerers. A couple of them are sent to Hokkaido. Their target, just some noisy cursed spirit that's been running amok in the area. And while they do exorcise a couple of grade 4 or grade 3 cursed spirits, they also find a cursed womb. At first, they think they can handle it, but something's off. Their attacks slow down and they can never reach the spirit. And before they can do anything, the 6 eyes on this creature open. An innate domain immediately covers up the building. Floods of information pour into their minds, and then nothing. By the time their bodies hit the ground, Gojo has already taken them out and is devouring them. Word reaches Jujutsu High within a week. More cursed users are sent in, even trained sorcerers go in, but nothing works. Now, while this is happening, Geto and Ranta are sent to protect Riko, the next star plasma vessel. Now, without Gojo there to kind of rewrite fate in a way, things don't go very well. Toji shows up, takes down Riko. Geto and Ranta are just mollywopped. However, they are spared only because Toji thinks it would be troublesome to finish off Geto. Riko's passing devastates Geto, and when the higher-ups send him and Ranta on another mission to deal with this special grade in Hokkaido, he's barely holding himself together. When they arrive, they realize the reports don't do it justice. This cursed spirit is a monstrous walking disaster. Geto tests it by summoning curses, but blue tears them apart instantly. The rumors were true. This thing isn't just strong, it's nigh untouchable. Ranta comes up with a plan though. He believes, with his curse technique, he can break through. He tells his friend that he'll freeze the curse in place so that Geto can hit him with everything they've got. Geto protests, but Ranta grins through the fear and gives him a thumbs up, saying, they can do this. And for a moment, it actually works. Gojo freezes and Geto unleashes everything he's got. His strongest curses swarm the monster, landing hits that they normally wouldn't. But then the cursed spirit roars and breaks free. Cursed energy explodes outwards, shattering the building around them. Both boys are thrown back and Geto realizes they need to run. But Ranta is injured. His eyes are bleeding and his body is shaking from the recoil of Gojo breaking through his technique. When Gojo recovers and goes to attack, Ranta freezes him one more time. Geto calls back, desperate not to lose another friend, but their assistant manager arrives, having already realized that this fight cannot be won. Geto is dragged away, screaming and fighting, but Ranta sticks out his thumb one last time and tells him to survive. Ranta holds Gojo with everything that he has, even as his body fails him. Then the cursed spirit devours him. That moment changes everything. On one side, Geto hardens. He takes Ranta's sacrifice as a burden that he has to carry. Without Gojo there, someone needs to become the strongest. He keeps fighting, keeps protecting, but every loss piles up. And that's when a strange figure arrives. A woman with a crown of stitches adorning her forehead. She calls herself Kaori and starts influencing Geto to become strong enough to wage war on curses. That there's this thing called the culling games that will finally, once and for all, get rid of all cursed spirits. And it works. Geto starts acting more like Gojo, untouchable, distant, holding everything on his shoulders. But it isn't because he thinks he's the strongest. No, it's because he doesn't want anyone else to end up like Ranta. He begins taking sorcerers under his wing, wanting to build a society where nobody has to stand atop their comrades' corpses like he does. On the other side of the aisle, cursed spirit Gojo starts experimenting with the one thing that has fascinated him: bonds. He hated sorcerers, but watching humans fight together, even die for each other, planted an idea. What if curses could do the same? What if they could form their own family? And so begins the era of the disaster curses. Hanami, Jogo, Dagon, a reborn Kuchisaki Onna, and more. One by one, he gathers them together. It's not a family built on love. It's about strength, survival, and fear. But to Gojo, that's enough. The group is split into pairs, and he's paired with Kuchisaki Onna. And together, they begin spreading fear to empower their fellow curses. Years pass and the stage shifts to the events of Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Yuta still shows up, but this time he's taken in by Geto. And Suguru, already weighed down by being the strongest, throws everything onto Yuta's shoulders. He pushes him, challenging the boy to grow stronger, to grow faster than he has before. And his methods are harsh. Yuta sees him as a mentor, even an older brother figure, but Geto's grief twists their relationship. It's a toxic mentorship filled with just as much care as it is control. Almost like Geto is pushing Yuta to become someone else. Someone that Ranta could have been. Meanwhile, cursed Gojo finally steps onto the stage during this conflict, flaunting his family of curses and wanting to meet this Queen Rika that he's heard so much about. He boastfully calls Kuchisaki Onna the true Queen of Curses, a title she scoffs at but still appreciates. It's a clash of families between Geto's broken humans and Gojo's twisted curses. They agree to battle on Christmas Eve, thanks to Kaori stepping in and using her silver tongue. The final battle is chaotic to say the least. Now, Gojo at this point has mastered domain expansion, but he doesn't use it strictly to avoid friendly fire on his fellow curses. And besides, he's convinced that neither Geto or Yuta could ever beat him without a domain of their own. Gojo sets his sight on Yuta, drawn to the mystery of Rika. He wants to drag her out, test her, and decide whether she'll be his new jewel or a threat that needs to be erased. Meanwhile, he sends Jogo to deal with Geto. Jogo has grown into a true believer of the world that Gojo wants to create, where curses rule and humans are extinct. He hurls firestorms across the battlefield, apologizing as he incinerates Geto's curses, saying that he'll meet them again in 100 years. But Geto doesn't fold. He simply counters with layers of tactical manipulation, even revealing tricks like Simple Domain and RCT, though it is crude. Jogo has to push himself harder than ever before, flames and lava lashing in all directions just to keep from being drowned under cursed spirits. Back with Gojo and Yuta, the fight is pure brutality. Gojo enhances every blow with blue, shrugging off Yuta's desperate counters. But when Rika fully manifests, they force Gojo to actually defend himself. He laughs as he asks Rika to join his family. When she obviously refuses, swearing she'll never leave Yuta, Gojo drops his mask. He blasts Yuta away with blue, preparing to crush Rika, when a blade suddenly pierces his chest. The inverted spear of heaven. Gojo looks down in disbelief as Toji steps out of hiding, chain in hand, muttering to himself, "Rusty, that was meant for your head." From there, the fight only devolves into more chaos. Gojo has to divide his attention, dodging Toji's spear, blocking Yuta's strikes, and fending off Rika's monstrous power. For the first time, he's overwhelmed. Yuta pushes through, landing a black flash that staggers Gojo. For a moment, it looks like the new king of curses might actually fall. But Gojo finds clarity in the chaos. He realizes he never wanted an age of curses. He wanted an age of strength, an age where only the strongest survive, and he stands above them all. With that revelation, he finally casts away restraint and forms a hand sign, unleashing his domain and transforming, his body twisting into something more human, but far more terrifying. Elsewhere, Jogo is reaching his breaking point. Geto's spirits overwhelm him, but then, like a shadow, Kaori appears. Her domain slams down, pitting Jogo and Geto alike. Geto turns confused, asking what she's doing, only to be answered by a loud bang. A bullet tears through his chest. Kaori smiles as Geto collapses, thanking him for his service before taking his body for herself. Jogo stares, horrified, and some deep instinct tells him to run away. He retreats, dragging Hanami and a few surviving curses away, covering their escape with walls of fire. The focus shifts back to Gojo's domain. Inside, Yuta throws up a simple domain to shield himself and Rika. But Gojo scoffs, knowing he can break it. Before he can finish the job, Toji cuts in again, moving freely through the domain. Gojo realizes too late that a man with no cursed energy can't be hit by domain. Gojo turns to erase Toji, but then Geto steps in. A small black cube drops at Gojo's feet, the prison realm. Geto's domain clashes with Gojo's, and for the first time, the king of curses is cornered. Yuta notices something wrong, the stitches on Geto's forehead, but there's no time to question it. He, Rika, and Toji push with everything they've got. They hammer away at Gojo, strike after strike, wearing him down. Finally, Gojo begins to falter. His body weakens, his domain flickers. The sorcerers are ready for the finishing blow. But Geto moves first. He absorbs Gojo, revealing with a smirk that the plan was never to seal him away. Gravity crushes Yuta to the ground and Toji cuts him down. Rika rages out, but Kenjaku and Toji together bring her to her knees, and Kenjaku gains yet another spirit. The battlefield falls silent. The king of curses is gone. The queen of curses is gone. Geto, as they knew him, is gone. The sorcerers, broken and bloodied, have nothing left. Toji grumbles about getting paid double for all of this work, and Kenjaku watches him walk away, smiling faintly, one step closer to his culling games. From a distance, Ono watches it all fall apart. Claws dig into her palms as tears run down her cheeks, whispering, "You idiot, you stupid curse." Back at the disaster hideout, the atmosphere is suffocating. Jogo sits in silence. Hanami trembles. The weight of it hits them all at once. They've lost everything. But Ona steps forward, her presence boiling with rage beneath her calm voice. "We'll rebuild," she says. "We'll tear the world apart until it's ours again." Jogo looks up, wondering how they could possibly continue without Gojo. Ona doesn't flinch though. Instead, she pulls something from her sleeve, a jagged, withered object. One of Sukuna's fingers. "We'll survive," she says. "We'll become true curses, just like him." And that's where we're going to be leaving things for now. Kenjaku has claimed victory, Sukuna still lies dormant, and Kuchisaki Onna steps into the role of leader for the curses. This could very well be the end of the story, a one-shot tale of what might have been. Or it could be the beginning. You guys decide down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. It really does help out. Now let's get into the post-show talk. This was honestly a video that I did not want to write at all. I will be very honest, when you're making YouTube videos, one of the biggest things is making something that people are going to click on, and Gojo gets clicks. But much like Gege himself, I'm not a big fan of Gojo. I like Gojo, he's cool. I mean, his whole aesthetic is fire, especially in the Shinjuku Showdown. He looks awesome. But I'm not a huge Gojo guy, and I think a lot of Gojo concepts are fairly boring, so I had to really build this one out. I mean, this one took quite a while to write, actually. That said, it does play very well off of the Geto story that we had the other day. It's also a story all about family and all about isolation. So I thought it was a pretty good follow-up, and honestly, I had to really flex my creative muscles to make this one work in the way that it did. It's definitely not perfect. It's not the best, right? But it's a story that I'm actually really happy with, all things considered, because this almost never became a story, right? That said, this one and the Geto one are both a little more serious, a little more on the depressing side, right? So next week, we're going to be having a bit more fun. Specifically, another video about another Pokemon trainer character. So tune in for that one when it comes out, right? However, that's all I've got for today. So you guys have a good day or night wherever you are. That's it for now. Bye-bye.